Okay, so I think we'll make a start so we get through everything. Like I said before, welcome to Employability ESOL and our final session, which is a revision session just on all the topics we've already looked at over this 6-week course. As always, this project is provided by the Accelerate project and the Watch Centre, the Watch Charity in Hillfields. So if you'd like to find more information about these, here are the website addresses as always. But let's get started. Okay, so here's just a quick list of all the topics we have looked at over this 6-week course. So we've looked at nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, conjunctions, pronouns, the past tense, the present tense, the future tense, prefixes, suffixes, singular and plurals. So I'll quickly go over what each topic was. Probably, hopefully, if you've been to most of them or have watched most of the videos on the YouTube channel, you will see that you'll recognise quite a few of these terms and that you also know what they all are. So nouns was our first week. And remember, a noun is a person, a place or a thing. We have verbs was our second week. And verbs were doing words, so they were the action in the sentence. We have adjectives. The adjective describes the noun, so the adjective describes what the person, the place or the thing is like, looks like, sounds like, could be anything, just a descriptive word. Whereas the adverb describes the verb, it describes what the action is. So if you are walking, the adverb would be quickly, so you are walking quickly. And then our conjunctions are our connective words. So our conjunctions connect together all the nouns, the verbs, the adjectives and the adverbs together in a sentence. So conjunctions are things like and so and to, all these little words that connect all the big words together. Pronouns are another form of noun, but they describe the person. So they could be the self with I or me or my, or they could be more gendered, so he, she, or more neutral, which is they, them. You've got these different pronouns which describe the person or the animal themselves. And then we've got the past tense, which is everything that has happened in the past. So it could be last week, last year, an hour ago. That's all past tense. The present tense is all now, what is happening right now. So you'd say you're right now in an ESOL lesson. And the future tense. Future tense could be for attending this course, you will all get an ESOL certificate for it. Just so we've got future, what will happen, present tense, what is happening, and past tense, what has happened. Then on Tuesday we looked at prefixes and suffixes. So these are just the terms that are added onto the start and the end of words to change the meaning of the root word. So with the root word employ, you can add un in the start of that to become unemployed, which means the opposite of employed. Or you could have the suffix where you add ment, M-E-N-T, onto the end of employ, and it becomes employment. So you can see how a root word with the prefix and a suffix added on changes, can change the meaning, but keep the root word spelling similar or the same. And then we also looked at singular and plurals. I think that was last week, where we looked at words on its own or a group. So singular would be, if I was to say, we have one teacher, whereas plurals would be, there are many teachers with an S on the end. Just a simple example. So these are all the topics we've looked at over the past 6 weeks. Hopefully you understand them a little bit better than when we started, and that you feel that this course has been useful. If you've got any feedback for us, that'd be really helpful to drop me an email or give us a phone call. You've got all our contact details, and if you would like to offer some feedback on how these sessions have gone, what else you would like to learn, and especially if you're on the Accelerate project and you've got your ESOL booklets and the worksheets, if you would like support in continuing to fill these out, do let us know and we can have a telephone appointment and go through some of the topics if that's helpful. But remember, you can always refer back to the YouTube videos to refresh, to have a quick review on what topic we've looked at. Okay, so here are so today our topic, I've chosen common interview questions. So before we even think about the topic, we'll have a quick practice and see if we can identify our nouns and our punctuation, and in this sentence there's an adjective as well. So common interview question, what would you think are the nouns in this sentence? Now remember, you can use the Zoom chat for this if you'd like. You can turn your audio and say if you'd like as we go along, so feel free to join in. So today we've got common interview questions. So interview would be our noun. So we've got interview and questions. We're missing the S, but we should have an S on the end there, so that should be our nouns. Whereas common would be our adjective, as it is describing the two nouns. Okay, so we're going to look at some common interview questions, and we're going to see if we can identify what all the terms, if we can identify all of these in these common interview questions that we're going to look at. Okay, so we're going to be looking for the nouns, verbs, the adjectives, all of these different topics we've already looked at in these sentences. So here is our first question, and it's something you could be asked in a job interview or a volunteer placement, and it is, why have you applied to this job? So it's quite simple, and it's also very generic, so it could come up in many job interviews. Why have you applied to this job? So first we're going to look for our nouns. So our nouns are why. So why have you applied to this job? So job and why would be our nouns in this question. We could look. We've got our verb is applied, and our conjunctions are you, to, and this. Sorry, you as a pronoun. So to and this are our conjunctions, and our, what should we do for pronouns? No purple. You is a pronoun. So we've got our nouns, our verb, our conjunctions, and our pronouns. Okay, so let's see how we can identify that. Now we're going to look at the question itself. Why have you applied to this job? Here are a couple of maybe things, common things that you could say in a job interview or why you've applied for a job. You might be looking for work experience. You might be wanting to improve your communication skills depending on the job. You might be looking for a new challenge. You might feel like what you've done with your previous employment history has been enough and you would like to do something different, or you might want to do something where you're helping the community, you're making a difference. Okay, so we'll look at these. We'll look at these same topics again. So we're going to look for our nouns. Okay, so work is a noun. Experience is a noun. We've got, well, in fact, they're all nearly all nouns. You've got communication is a noun. Skills is a noun. Challenge is a noun. Difference is a noun. And then our verbs, which are doing words. We've got make. Make is a verb. It's doing word. And then we've got our conjunctions. To and a is there, the connective words. They're connecting the verb and the nouns together. And then lastly, we have an adjective because it's telling new challenge. Challenge is the noun, it's the thing, and the adjective new is telling us more about the challenge. So more about the noun. So now if we look back to this question, why have you applied to this job? We're going to look at these topics and these possible answers and see how these can be put into a sentence, how we can put these ideas into sentences on that you would answer. Okay, so like always, we're going to look for our nouns. So if we read through this first answer, so I have applied for this role because I am looking to gain further professional work experience in this sector. So if you remember, the question was, why have you applied to this job? When you ask the question job interview, to give yourself some thinking time, it can be really good to almost say the question back to the interviewer. So when they ask, why have you applied to this job? Your reply could be, I have applied for this role, or I've applied for this job because. So you're just saying the start of the question back to the person. So when we start constructing our sentence, that's a really good way to start the answer. And then we have our ideas. So this is one of these reasons might be why you're looking for a new job. And so you might be looking for work experience. So when it comes to answering the question, you would go, I've applied for this role, this job, because I'm looking to gain further professional work experience. So you're putting that idea into your sentence. You're explaining why you've applied for this role. So when we look at, and the same could go for your follow-up thing, when you say other reasons why you might want to, is why you've applied to this role is where I hope to face new challenges, develop my communication skills, and to make a difference. And so that's one way how we can put all these 4 different things into 2 sentences to answer the job interview question. So we'll quickly go through. We'll look for our nouns. As always, we'll start looking for our people, our place, our thing with our nouns. So I have applied for this role. Now role, like a job, is a noun because I am looking to gain further in professional work experience in this sector. So in this job sector. So now we're going to look for our verbs, our action words. We've got I have applied for this role because I am looking to gain further professional work experience in this sector. And now we've got 2 different kinds of tenses in this sentence. So the applied, the ed, is the past tense, but the ing and to gain is the future. So it's the sentence that we've got both the past and the future in it. Our conjunctions, our little connective words, we've got where have we got? We've got in and this are conjunctions, and because, one of our longer conjunction connective words. And then we've got an adjective in the form of further, so explaining more about the nouns, further. And then we've got our pronouns, which is I, and you would say I because the person has asked you a question about you. So instead of talking about someone else, you wouldn't be like he, she, or they. You would say I because you're talking about yourself. I don't think we need to go through this one because it's the same sort of thing, but the blue are our nouns. So where I hope to face new challenges, so challenges, communication skills, difference, these are all nouns. And you should be able to now work out what each of these words are based on this and based on our previous learning. So if you feel like in the future, you can go back and look at the video and maybe work it out if you'd like an extra activity. Now I'm just going to quickly swap the screens because what we're going to use for this next question, we're going to use the National Careers Service job profiles. So I'll just open up a new tab. So we're going to go to the National Careers Explore, and they have different job profiles and all the different job sectors you could work in on the National Careers Service website, and it gives you job profiles on different types of jobs. So we're going to go to hospitality and food, which is like restaurants, cafes, and it's got a list of different jobs that you can do in that sector. And we're going to go right down to the bottom for W, where we've got waiter, because this next, so here we've got all the job information about if you were to work as a waiter. So now we're going to jump back to this PowerPoint and we've got our job interview question, and we're going to pretend that we've applied for a job as a waiter. So in this job interview, you've been asked, what do you know about the role? Okay, so this question, we'll look for our nouns again. So what do you know about the role? We've got role, and yeah, we've got our verbs, know, we've got our conjunctions, we've got do and about and the, and we've got our pronoun, you. Okay, so you can break up the question quite quickly. So what do you know about the role? So we're going to look at the role of a waiter. Now these are the different terms that could be used for this job. So if you're a woman, you could be called a waitress. If you're a man or a woman, you could be called a waiter. You could be called waiting staff, as the plural, or you could be called a server. So in a restaurant or cafe, this we're pretending that this question, what do you know about the role, is something you could be asked in an interview about this. Now, if we jump to the job profiles, we're going to see if you've maybe never worked in a job before, or you're filling out a job application, you can use these job profiles to help build your answers to interview questions or application questions. So when they ask, what do you know about the role, you can look up what sort of skills and knowledge you need for the role. So customer service, the ability to work well, active listening skills, good memory, these sorts of skills, and the sort of daily tasks, the duties that you could do in this role: greeting customers, serving food and drink, dealing with bill payments. You can find all this information on the National Careers Service, but we're going to use this information now to answer that question. What do you know about the role you've applied for? So these lists of skills and knowledge, we've got them put into sentence here. So I know for this role, customer service skills are important, which is very important for a waiting role, for a waiting staff role. And I have restaurant experience where I work while under pressure and develop a good memory to recall customers' orders. So if we jump back here, we can see that customer service skills, a good memory, excellent detail and communication skills are all important things mentioned in these answers for if you were to work as, and there are many transferable skills as well for different jobs. But now we're going to look for our nouns in this. So I know, so we've got, I know for this role, customer service skills are important. So we're looking for our nouns, our people, our place, our things. So we've got, I know for this role, customer service skills are important. So these are our nouns. We're now going to look for our verb, our action word. So I know. So know is our action word. Now this is one of those kind of annoying spellings in English where it sounds, know is spelled with a K. It's spelled K-N-O-W, but it is a silent K, so when you say it, you're not saying that K sound, but the spelling it is spelled with a K, which is just one of those annoying English spellings. So good thing to be aware of. And we've got our conjunctions, so we've got for and this and are, and then we've got our pronoun I. Okay, so I know for this role, customer service skills are important. And likewise, here's a second one which you can do in your own time when you rewatch the video back on the YouTube channel. If you'd like the extra practice, you could always pause the video when it's on the YouTube and write out the sentence and then do the underlining in different colours, or identifying. You could circle what word is which as an extra thing you could do. So here's another common interview question. You are probably going to be asked what you are good at. So what are your strengths? Strengths mean what are you good at, what do you have experience of, that sort of thing. So you might say something along the lines of that you are a reliable person, so you're always on time, you always do what you're asked, you're always able to be relied upon. You might say that you're responsible. So you might be responsible for having extra duties, extra tasks to carry out. You might be responsible for leading a team. You might be confident, so you might be very good at public speaking, meeting new people, and having very good interpersonal skills because you're very confident. And you're probably hardworking, so you work very hard. You're always putting in 100% effort. You're always turning up to work and to class. You might be proactive. Now, proactive is where you kind of take initiative. You see something and you go and do it. You might think a way, problem solve your way around a problem, and you do this all by yourself independently. You take every opportunity you're given, so you've got a very proactive nature. you're not passive, you're being very active. And then punctual. So punctual is your timekeeping. Do you turn up to appointments on time? Do you turn up to class on time? Are you ever late? Being punctual is having very good timekeeping. So you might know about timekeeping, but you might not know the term punctual, which is just another way of saying that you're on time, you're early for things. If we look at these are all adjectives, so these all could be used to describe yourself or a person, and we've even got a prefix in here. So in proactive, we've got active, which is our root word, and we've got pro added on to the start of the root word to mean increase, to mean good at. So we've got these two words joined together, a prefix. But they all are adjectives, so you could use them all to describe yourself or others. So here are examples of them in a sentence. So from my previous work experience, I've developed my confidence. Now confidence is a different way of writing confidence. So you would say I am confident, but you would say I have developed my confidence. And I have demonstrated I am a reliable team member. So here are those two words, two adjectives we've just looked at already. And then here is our second sentence. I am always punctual and proactive to find new tasks. My manager saw this and trusted me with extra responsibilities. So we've been able to put in all these key skills, these key qualities, these adjectives into our answer to the question, what are your strengths? Now these are very transferable skills, so you could say them in different types of interviews or volunteer placements interviews. So we're going to quickly, like before, look for our nouns. I think we'll do this bottom one first. So I'm always punctual and proactive to find new tasks. My manager saw this and trusted me with extra responsibilities. So punctual could be an adjective or a noun. So proactive, to find new tasks. My manager's a person, saw this and trusted me with extra responsibilities. Okay, so we've got our nouns. Then we're going to look for our verbs. We've got find. To find is a verb, and trusted me with. So there we go, we've got our action words, then we've got our conjunctions, our connective words, our always and this and with. I've just realised we've missed out one verb, which is saw. So you'd have the present tense see or seeing spelled S-E-E-I-N-G or S-E-E, but in the past tense we write the word saw, so S-A-W. Okay, and then we've got adjectives. You could say that punctual and proactive were adjectives, so is new. And you could say extra, it could also be an adjective in this scenario. We've got our pronouns, so we've got I am and my, which is a belonging pronoun, and also we have me. So here we go, we've been able to split up our sentence into all the different parts and find the tense as well. So you could do this one in your own time when you watch the video back maybe. And then we've got the question, what are your weaknesses? So in the same way that they could ask what are you good at, they could ask what are you not very good at, and in this they're asking for your self-awareness to see how you can reflect on your own skills and articulate it. So these might be something what we call weaknesses, negatives, but that you can turn them into a positive. So you're not going to go, oh, I'm very bad at this, because they might not want to hire you. You're going to go, oh, I'm not so good at this, but this is how I'm going to improve it. So you might say you're not very good at public speaking, but you'd like to be better. You might say your confidence could need improving. You might say, oh, my literacy skills need improvement, so I enrolled on an ESOL course. Or you might never have worked it for one of these jobs before and you want to gain some sector knowledge about it. So even though, say if you're applying to be a waitress, you would, and you've never worked as a waitress before, you'd go, even though I've never worked as a waitress, I may not have the sector knowledge of working in restaurants, but I do have the transferable skills from my previous role as a customer service assistant, where being able to talk to people and work quickly were really important. So you're able to turn these negatives, these weaknesses, into positives. Okay, so you could say something like, I would like more practice public speaking to develop my confidence. To improve my literacy skills, I've completed an ESOL course. Okay, so I think we'll look at the ESOL one, as that's the most relevant answer to take apart. So we're going to look for our nouns first. So to improve my literacy skills, I have completed an ESOL course. Okay, then we're going to look for our verbs in green as always. So we've got to improve my literacy skills, I have completed an ESOL course. We're going to look for our conjunctions, which are to and an, and then we're going to look for our pronouns, which is the thing about the self. So we've got my and I. So to improve my literacy skills, I have completed an ESOL course. Okay, so these are just example answers, and then we've got one more here, which we're running out of time now, so we won't have time to go through this one. But if you watch the video back when it's on YouTube, you can pause it, write out the sentence, and identify all the nouns and verbs and adjectives like we've done with these other sentences already. Okay, so, and then one last final thing you could be asked is, do you have any questions for us? So you could ask, can you describe the typical day and workload I might expect? Or you could ask, what do you enjoy about working for this company? Turn it back on the interviewer, show that you're interested in the company. So that's all we've got time for today. I hope you've enjoyed this 6-week ESOL course. If you're on the Accelerate project, we'll be in touch soon with details on ESOL courses you can do online or at home. If you've got any feedback, do get in touch with us. I hope you've enjoyed taking part in the Employability ESOL course, and we will be in touch soon. Remember, we've now been able to tick off all these checklists. If there's anything you've missed, the video will be up on the YouTube channel, so you can check in with that. And if you want to accelerate and you're working through the ESOL booklets and you need any help with the worksheets, do get in touch and we can organise an appointment. But I'd just like to say a really big thank you for coming every week. It is really, really appreciated that you've all been so engaged and you've been able to make it every week, if not nearly every week. But yes, thank you. So I'm going to end the session now, and do get in touch with me if you've got any questions or feedback. That would be brilliant. Okay, so thank you guys, and I'm going to end it here.